Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Padmabhavam Vasishtam Shaktim Cha Tatputra Parasharam Cha Vyasam Shukam Gauda Padam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Matasya Sishyam Sri Shankaracharya Matasya Padma Padam Cha Hastamalakam Cha Sishyam Tam Todakam Vartika Manyan Asmat Gurun Santatamanatosmi Shruti Smriti Purananamayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutramacha Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padambu Janmane Savilasa Mahamoha Graha Graseika Karmane. Jivan Muktaha, they do not necessarily behave, act, desire, engage like the way others are, or they do not imitate anybody else, they do not stand away from the usual way of lives. What they make difference in their mind is their abidance in the highest, while they continue to experience the prarabdha karma. What is distinctly seen in them is not succumbing to, become enslaved to situations of life, nor do they live in anxiousness or anticipation of things that will happen to them in the future. In other words, they are grounded, very much grounded, realistic, practical, at the same time, great sympathy for everyone who is going through various situations in life, knowing very well that they have to go through that due to their prarabdha. That's why it said, Arabdakam ananatvat buddhana manyatanyata. Artha karma. Arabdha karma nanatvat buddhanamanyatanyata vartanam tena shastrarte bramitavyam na panditai. While the panditaha, meaning students of shastra, should not get deluded by this. Na brahmitavyaha. Na brahmitavyam. To be not thought of. Shastra arte tena vartanam, meaning Jivan Mukti Purushasya Vartanam tena na brahmitavyam. Panditaihi should not be deluded, confused. And at the same time, one should not compare one Mahatma with another Mahatma. ये ऐसा कर रहा है, वही क्यों वो ऐसा करता है? He is saying this way, that fellow is saying that way. But this Mahatma is drinking only hot water. Why is he drinking coffee? These kind of mundane things should not be taken seriously, and that is why it is said in the next verse 288. स्वस्वकर्मानुसारेण वर्तन्तां ते यथा तथा अविशिष्टः सर्वबोधः. One minute here. माम समा मुक्तिरिति स्थितिः स्वस्वकर्मानुसारेण वर्तन्तां ते यथा तथा अविशिष्टः सर्वभूतः समा मुक्तिरिति स्थितिः. यथा तथा, as it would happen, so it would happen. Vartantam te, may they engage in, according to what? Prarabdha karma anusarena, swa karma anusarena. Karma purva karma. According to their past actions, may they engage in this world, or according to the situation that comes to them in their life. Swa karma anusarena. Some people may be famous, some people may be celebrity, some people may be unknown totally. There may be Mahatmas who are totally unknown also. They may be living in a small little village, totally content and abiding. Nobody will know them according to their karma. And in fact, the thing is, they are least interested in whether anybody is recognizing him or not. Swaswar karma anusarena te yatha tata vartantam. May they engage. But one thing which is very common in all of them is sarva bodha avishishtaha. Avishishtaha? What's written avishishtaha? Vishishtaha. Vishishta means unique. So knowledge is so common to all of them. Same. Sama. And also muktihi sama. Their liberation is the same. Iti stitihi. This is what is the Sthiti means this is what is to be understood as the situation with all of them. Their knowledge is the same, their enlightened nature of wisdom is the same, and their own release and freedom, moksha, is also same. Ekam sat bahuta vadanti vipraha. One is the truth, the way they express it, they may be in different parts of the world also, not necessarily only in those who have studied Vedanta Shastra only. Truth being one, whoever reached there know that in that very nature. Satyam is that yata asti tata eva janiya. Whatever is there, in that way only should be known. What is there, that alone should be known. And that, like sun, one person said, one person was walking in New York, he just arrived from Italy. So somebody asked, is it full moon today? I don't know, I'm not local. Now you see, does it mean that for local, it do not know that for, in this country, there's new moon is another day? Or full moon? It's the same moon only. Both are watching the same moon, whether you are in whichever part of the world. So that truth is like that, available to everyone as is. Whether one has studied the Shastra and reached there, another has probably had done some other sadhana and reached there. In different parts of the world, different parts of the different cultures have their own philosophical understanding, but once they have reached the absolute, it will be the same. Avishishtaha, not different. Sarva bodha, the complete knowledge. So also Muktihi iti, muktihi api sada sama iti sthitihi. It is the same, moksha is the same, the liberated nature is same, liberation is the same, freedom is the same. It doesn't matter at all. So based upon that also one should not discriminate. They should understand ultimately where they have reached is the same. So our sugar is a sugar and it's a sweet to everyone only. Whether it's a Gujarati eats it or a Malayali eats it, it's the same thing. For Gujarati it's a daily food, for others others it is once in a while. So but sugar is a sugar. Doesn't matter who eats and when he eats or she eats. So now having completed the description of the Jivan Mukta, now Vidyaranya says, let me recollect where we started. Where we start, what is the topic of this very chapter? Chitra Deepa, right? That is what we started with. Let me recollect that here. Jagat Chitram Swachaitanye Pate Chitramivarpitam Mayaya Tat Upekshaiva Chaitanyam Parisheshyatam Jagat Chitram Swachaitanye Pate Chitramivarpitam Mayaya Tat Upekshaiva Chaitanyam Parisheshyatam. Remember, the world has been projected as a Jagat Chitram. The whole world has been projected where Swachaitanye Pate. In one's own consciousness, one's own being, the entire world has been projected there. The projection of the entire world has taken place in one's own mind, one's own consciousness, just like in a plain canvas, the picture has been drawn. Chitram iva arpitam. Chitram iva chaitanye pate chitram iva arpitam jagat. Like that of pate chitram iva chaitanye jagat. That's a comparison. Like on a canvas, how the world has been painted, no, the picture has been painted, so too in the canvas of consciousness, the world has been projected. In other words, until we remove this projected one, that's why the elaborate discussion took place on that very projection, which is known as Vikshepa, is nothing but Adhyasa. Vikshepaha Adhyasaha eva, or Adhyasaha Vikshepa eva. So the Vikshepa or Adhyasa is to be removed. The projection has to be removed. Therefore, why it has happened? First of all, Mayaya. Due to Maya alone, this apparent Adhyasa has taken place. Projection. Tat Upekshya eva. Mayayaha Upekshya eva. By the removal of the projection, which is none other than the removal of the effect of Maya, and the effect of Maya in us is what? Avidya. Avidya Upekshya eva. By the removal of the avidya, which is none other than Maya's effect on our mind. As much as the world is nothing but a projection upon Bhagavan's presence. Brahmanaha. Brahman as to be understood as Brahmanaha Dehe, so called. Jagat Adhyasitam. The world has been projected upon the presence of Brahman. Maya, due to Maya. So how do we see Brahman there? Nama Rupa Vilayane. When removal of Nama Rupa is removed, when the removal of Nama Rupa takes place, what is the substratum there? Astivadi Priyam. Right? Satchit Anand. In the same way, Mayaya Chitram arpitam. That goes with the previous line. Mayaya arpitam. Not don't say Maya upekshaya. Tadupekshaya eva chaitanyam parisheshyatam. You come to discover pure essence, the consciousness. So here, that is the essence of the entire Bhagavad, this chapter 6 of the Panchadashi. That it is removal of the projected world upon the consciousness, just like the removal of the painted picture on the canvas. So that Chaitanyam Parisheshyadam, may one obtain that consciousness underlying presence, just like the removal of the notion of the snake alone will make one get to reveal the rope. That is the hope. Our hope is only the rope. Are you roping? Sorry, are you hoping to happen? Yes. So the rope alone is the substratum. How will it come to know about that? Removal of the adhyasa. So, Chitrabdipamimam nityam Yenu sandhatate buddha Pashyantopi jagatchitram Te muhyanti na purvavat Chitradipamimam nityam Yenu sandhatate buddha Pashyantopi pachitram Te muhyanti na purvavat. Final prayojanam of this whole knowledge, na muhyanti. Buddhaha na muhyanti. The very important thing is they no more get deluded. Nashto moha. Arjuna said to Bhagavan, I have come out of the moha. Moha alone, dukkasya karanam. Moha, dukkha and moha, these are the two things that is making us miserable here. Moha means where individual is deluded about what he sees by seeing. So seeing is not a problem. As he says, pashyantaha api. Pashyantam, even as they are seeing what? Jagat chitram pashyantaha api. Even though they are seeing the world, which is like a picture. It's like when you are looking at a picture, you get charmed and enamored, very excited about the picture, but you keep looking at it, it's canvas. The canvas. It was and it is. It shall be. So the canvas that was there alone is there now also. Then you say can is, can will be. It can, anyway, I'm not going to that. So, it was, it is, it shall be. The pata remains the same, and even as one looks at the picture, one is not deluded by the beauty or the color or the shapes and the various other aspects of the characteristics of the picture. At the same time, one is not that, one would not appreciate that. Beautiful picture, after all, it's a canvas. That he won't tell that to the artist, he will get very discouraged. Very beautiful, wow, only canvas. So many of the houses where I go and, Swamiji, see, my child has written, do the picture of Gurudev. Where? Oh, okay, that one. So many times, we are forced to appreciate that. Even nowhere, remotely also it looked like Gurudev. But anyway, because my child has done it. Okay. So, even as one is seeing this world, Chitram Pashyannapi Namukhyati, Etat Satyamiti. Right? Similarly, Jagat Pashyannapi Namukhyati, Bhutaha, Etat Satyamiti. This is not true. even though one is seeing, meaning using the senses and experiencing, seeing, hearing, everything else. Here, that Mahatma may be very active in the world, but no reality of its effect on him. So that is why it is said, Pashyantaha api buddhaha purvavat na muhyanti. Earlier than knowledge, jnana udayat purvam. Before the dawn of knowledge, how one got so enamored, so agitated, or so taken away, so excited, so carried away. Knowledge grounds him. No more that illusion anymore. So that is why these Mahatmas, Guru Moolam na prachet. Do not ask the root or the origin of a guru, because it's the same like anybody else. Nothing special. It so happened. So I was in somebody's house last week. Swamiji, yes, no. 2000 is when we got married. 25th year you have come to our house to stay. It's so nice. Okay, fine. 25th year of marriage we are celebrating. I said, I am also celebrating 25th year of sannyas, but I'm not celebrating. I'm calibrating. So, but how did it happen, Swamiji? 2000. So I asked, how did it happen to you? 2000. I met somebody. I also met somebody. I met Gurudev, you met your sweetheart. That's all it is. So the course of our life can be changed completely by the Guru or the Mahatma walking into our life. Right? It can change the whole mind and the whole perception. So here, what is that? Purvavat na muhyanti. They will not be deluded like the way they were before. The same Arjuna who said, what did he say? Dharma sammoda cheta aham. I cannot decide anything. I am so deluded. The same Arjuna only. Rashto moha smritirlabdha karishye vachanam tava. I will do whatever you say because now I am very clear about this. So pashyantopi jagatchitram tena muhyanti na purvavat. So imam chitra deepam nityam ye anusandate buddhaha. Who's the Buddha? Anusandate. Nityam anusandate. Continuously they are contemplating upon these verses. So Swamiji, 6th chapter, Khatam. Okay. How long? Almost a year or more. You can complete that. But if one wants to know about what is whose, so many topics are given in this. This chapter is almost 300, 290 verses. It is various things have been discussed. So one should meditate upon, think about this particular chapter. Chitradipamimam nityam ye anusandate. Those people who are thinking, ye buddhaha te na muhyanti. They will not get confused by this. That's what he said here. So the beginning of that, when you just quickly go back many pages before, many moments before, page number 126 in my book. So it started with Chitrapate Drishtam Avasthanam Chaturshtam. So anyway, so there he has talked about the canvas. In that canvas, a clean cloth is Brahman. And then wrinkles were there in that clean cloth. And when you remove the wrinkles, that for the sake of painting, original one is, then you add some ingredients to it, make it stiff. That is Ishvara. Then the border you create, that is Hiranyagarbha. The color you add, that is Virat. So this way, the picture has been created there, including of original Brahman, then Ishvaraha, and then Hiranyagarbha border, and the colors that are added is Virat. That is how this original picture started. But by understanding the Mithya Rupam, falsification of the entire thing alone, one can come to discover the original, plain, clean, characterless Brahman. Nothing wrong in appreciating, as I said, the picture, but recognition of the canvas, which is very clean and very basis of everything, is necessary so that we not get carried away by, because the painting also keeps changing. It's not the same painting. It keeps changing, and that can cause major misery to us. So next one is about space. Remember, he talked about Gata Akasha, Ghata Akasha, Maha Akasha, all that. So in that explanation also, the outer space, Bahira Akasha, is Brahman. And the space inside the pot is called Kutastha. And the space reflected in the pot water is the Jiva. And the space reflected in the particles of the cloud is called Ishvara. Space inside is Kutastha. Space outside is Brahman. The space reflected in the water of the pot is Jiva. The space reflected in the waters of the clouds in the outer space is Ishvara. Character is there. So what is the difference between Kutastha and Kutastha means the pot space inside, and what is the difference between Kutastha and Brahman? What is the difference between Jiva and Ishvara? All this has been so elaborately explained in the beginning. And the cause of this mere illusion that one considers oneself as Jiva is called Avarana and Vikshepa powers of Maya. Then next topic that was taken is about confusion between Jiva by different schools of thoughts. Jainism, Buddhism, Vaisheshika, Sankyans. Elaborately it was discussed. Then after that about Ishvara. God is there or not, first of all. If who is there, what is he? Sometimes the God is worshipped in the form of even trees and plants and all those things, vratas and various other traditions. And then discussion about how Maya, what is Maya? For those people who consider the world as real, Maya is real. The world is real. For those people who are enlightened, it is tucham. It is insignificant. For those who are not considering it as real, neither consider it real, nor they have enlightened, for them it is anirvachaniya. Maya is anirvachaniya. So those discussions took place. Then the difference between Ishvara and Brahman. Who is Ishvara? And then afterwards, nature of Brahman as a pure consciousness. Then about Jivan Mukti. Towards this last part of it, it's talked about how the individual gets released from this Hridaya Grantihi, the knots of the heart. Then various sadhanas we saw, mainly three of them, Bodha, Vairagya and Uparama. What is the Swarupa? What is the Hetu, Swarupa and Prayojanam or Karya of Bodha and Vairagya and also Uparati. Then finally, Jivan Mukti Lakshanam and the Prayojanam, Palashruti. So this way, the entire chapter had gone through varieties of discussions, various subject matters where we can get stuck. For example, Ishvara, how can he be Antaryami? How is a Sarvashaktiman? All those discussions elaborately went through in that. So this way we have completed this chapter 6 of Panchadashi. We'll read the first verse to make sure that we go back again and again and again and make our mind clear about this subject here. अथ षष्ठोऽध्यायः चित्रदीपः यथा चित्रपटे दृष्टम् अवस्थानं चतुष्टयं परमात्मनि विज्ञेयं यथा अवस्था चतुष्टयम् तथा अवस्था चतुष्टयम्. So there are 4 stages in the painting of the picture. In the same way, there is 4 different stages of understanding about the world and individual self. So from there it began and we completed that. Any questions you all have? And we'll take that. No questions. Everything is so clear, Swami. Absolutely clear. Yes.
Towards the when there was a discussion about Videha Mukti versus Jivan Mukta Purusha, the Vairagyam and Bodha and Uparama, those 3 qualifications, out of which Bodha is the Pradhanyam, Vidyaranya Swamiji said. Swami, I'm clear on this idea, what he said, that
Go ahead.
For a Jivan Mukta, all 3 are there. That is clear, Swami. So the
Purna, it was complete.
Purna.
Purne bodhe tadanyo dvo yeah, go ahead.
However, he says that Bodha may be there. However, when that also is clear, the Vairagyam and Uparati, if it is not fully there, right? Vairagyam and
284. Purne bodhe tadanyo dvo pradipatto yada tada moksho vinischita kintu drishta dukkam na nashyati. Here, moksha deha padanat urdhvam moksha asti tasya parantu asmin janmani अस्मिन् जगति तस्य दुःखं पूर्वकर्मकृतकर्मणः कर्मणतः दुःखं न नश्यति. दुःखं न नश्यति.
This is the one that I was not able to understand, Swamiji. So knowledge is there,
but the absence of vairagya and.
So how is even Videha Mukti possible when Vairagyam and the Uparama are not purna? Upon the fall of the physical body, knowledge appears, it seems like it will be a vicarious knowledge only without the Vairagya and Uparama. So upon the fall of the body, how is it that this person is getting even Videha Mukti?
Yeah, here it is not that it is fully absent. Na purnam, that's all it is. It's not complete. It's not absent. That doesn't mean that a person is totally no vairagya, totally no uparati. If total uparati vairagya is there, then obviously even this life's sufferings would not be there for him. It will not be suffered by him. Others may see it. For a person who is a jnani in whom all the 3 are complete, others may see him as suffering, but he is not. This is case number 1. Case number 2 is it is incomplete, not absent. To the extent it is incomplete, to that extent he would suffer. Because of this knowledge, obviously, that it will lead him to That suffering is because of the absence of Vairagya and Viprati in this life only. It belongs to this life only. As it is, knowledge will release him, he will be free from all that. Whereas, that's why the question that is raised by, earlier also Purva Bakshi, I see people who have gained the knowledge, but they are still suffering. Why? Then only he opened the topic, because they don't have Vairagya complete. Uparadi is not complete. That's why they are suffering. So don't take them to be the example for, don't say, therefore knowledge has not done anything. So the Purvapakshi said, oh, then what is the purpose of knowledge? In spite of them, they are suffering. Then he said, that means that their Vairagya and Uparati is incomplete, therefore they are suffering. Don't blame knowledge for that. Knowledge obviously does not make one suffer. But because of the absence of completeness of Vairagya. That is because of the Purva Karma Kritam also. Purva Karma can also become what you call obstacle for getting the Vairagya or Uparati. But the thoughts are still very strongly coming from the past karma. And so one is, even though attempting to withdraw the mind and the senses, not able to. That's why he will go up to Savikalpa but not continue to Nirvikalpa. He'll come out of that. And then again attempt to Savikalpa, then come out of it. So that incompleteness is there. And that will be get over when the prarabdha is over, and along with the suffering gets over, and he will be free of that. That's why Videkmukti is mentioned. Yes.
The counterpart for like the Antaryami Swamiji, I can't recollect like Swamiji's earlier, but I have a question about the difference basically, like, how everything is referred like Jiva and then Brahman. So I understand that this Antaryami refers to the
Ishvara.
So it refers to Ishvara, the Antaryami. Okay.
So even though sometimes we refer Brahman as also Antaryami,
Yes.
but here we should, any action related should be Ishvara only. Because Brahman by himself does not engage in any action. Even Antaryamanam also is not the act of Brahman. Antaryaman, any action is to be attributed to Ishvara only. Yata sarvani bhutani yena sarvam idam tadam. These are all referring to Ishvara only, because he is not the creator, but when creation happens, obviously immediately Ishvara comes into picture. So now again, Antaryamanam is, Antaryamayati means that through the vasanas of the individuals he is acting on that, not on his own. Based upon the vasanas of the individual, in that way, as the presence there, and as Bhagavan says in Gita, Upatrishta Anumanta. Hello, according to vasanas, let them act. Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. That's why the word Maheshwara is used. Right? In the Gita context, it says Upatrishta Anumanta cha Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara Paramatma iti api cha apyukta. Even though it is referred as Paramatma, it actually is Maheshwara. Tehesmin, in that very body, Purusha Para. So the moment action is involved, he assumes the Ishvara portion. That's how it should be understood. Even though sometimes Antaryami refers to Brahman also. It's none other than Brahman, but in relationship with action. Antaryami.
In the Ghatakasha and Mahakasha, it is Tattvamasi context is telling that all the explanation is only to clarify the Tattvamasi, Ghatakasha.
No, so the intent is that there is, first of all, yes, there is no difference between Mahakasha and Ghatakasha, right? In the case of that example, that part space outside and part in space inside has no real difference, except that there is upadhi that is distinguishing it, the structure of the part. Now, over and above, he brought, this is the usual example that is given to this Avachedavada. That's what is used in context. But here, Vidyaranya Maharaj put one more aspect to it, that is water reflecting the space, which is not usually explained, but here he brought that to bring the notion of jiva, which happens within the oneself. Due to the reflection of water, the reflection is none other than the buddhi, as you know. The buddhi is a reflecting media that is akin to the water. The space is the same. The space reflected in the water is to compare to, the illustration is to comparing the consciousness reflecting in the buddhi, which one has a notion, this is what I am. That notional existence is jiva. Similarly, in the outer space, there is Brahman only. But where is Ishvara then? There is Ishvara with respect to reflection of the space taking place in the cloud, giving it as a nama and nama and rupa. Otherwise, there is no nama rupa for Brahman. The space outside has no nama rupa. But when he assumes the Ishvaratva, there's apparently some nama rupa created as a creator. That's why Bhagavan says, I am a Bharta and the Bhokta, Aham Kraturaham Yajnaha, Sadaham Aham Aushadam. So he takes up all the qualities which are connected to the world. So then that's why that example is given as a reflection of space in the particles of water in the clouds. And again, the intention is it is countless. How many particles are there? Countless, right? So Ishvara's presence is Sarvada Panipadam Yade, Sarvadokshi Shiromukam, Sarvada Shrudiman Loke, Sarva Mahavritti Tishtati. It's that's why just like the all hands and all legs and all faces, all eyes, all tongues, it is to show that. So that's a Brahman, Ishvaraha, the distinction. Similarly here, Brahman and Jiva. That's a distinction brought here in this example.
In the seven school of thoughts,
Seven?
the schools of thoughts that were there. So verse 63 and 64, where the second school of thought is elaborated. I couldn't understand the difference between the Virojana Siddhanta of like senses are the self and the final tune in 63.
63, let me go there. No.
Where they talk about senses being the Atma.
Pratyakshatvena abhimata ahanti dehadirrekinam gamayet indriyatmanam vachmi ityadi prayogatah. That's the one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So in this, this is, how is this different from the Virojana Siddhanta? Because this is the second argument, second school of thought.
Suddenly when you
Yes,
say,
sorry.
I have to, that Jivatma nirgame deham maranasya atra darshanat dehadirikta evatma iti ahuhu lokayataha pare. So that is what is said in 62. This is an argument to show that it is not deha. So what you're saying, it's not asserting, it is actually showing how can the body be the Atman, because they conclude Atman is something other than the body. This is an argument of the senses. See, like for example, if body is the reality, when you sleep, when you dream, through what are you experiencing the dream world? Not body experience, right? Just to give an example, so that body is not experiencing the dream. You are not with this body, you are experiencing the dream. The dream is experienced not with the senses of this body. So that means in the same way, when the body is left behind after death, that's what it says. Jivatma nirgame deha maranasya atra darshanat. Even as there is this possibility of Jivatma existing independent of the body after the death of the body, Deha Adiriktaha Eva Atma. Their argument is, therefore, senses which are experienced through the mind, that is the Atman and not the body, physical body. That is what is established here. They are distinguishing between they have physical body versus senses. Senses which are centered upon the mind, which is similar to what we experience in dream.
So is this also something, does this school of thought also have a name, like we say?
We can say Virochana's philosophy.
Same.
No, I do not know. There's one is obviously Charvakas, which are totally body only.
Yes.
There are others who would say that no, it is senses and the mind. Probably they are different categories. There's no name that is given there.
Swamiji, this was there in Vedanta Sara also. They went through the.
Indra Atma, then Prana Atma, and Manaha Atma.
But senses?
Senses were also.
Okay, so
Swami,
Yeah.
this, the Jivan Mukta, when we are referring Jivan Mukta, is it only Advaita Vedanta or there is a parallel in other school of philosophy?
no, the Jivan Mukti is only Advaita Vedanta. Because in the case of Dvaita, the very fact that they are Dvaitins, Jivan is Jiva Samaye na Muktihi. Only upon the fall of the body, the Jiva being either the Amsha or different from the Paramatma, will go to the abode of the Paramatma, or that Amsha will merge with the Amshi. The Anga becomes one with the Angin. So presently, while staying in the body, it will remain independent of the, or away from the Paramatma, and therefore Mukti cannot be with the physical body. Their understanding is Mukti cannot be with the physical body. It is true even in the case of those who are believers in the heaven reaching the heaven cannot be with the physical body. Only after leaving the body, only you can go there. Similarly, their idea is Mukti can be only after leaving the body, while in the body cannot. While Shankaracharya holds the view, the body itself is an illusion. If you understand that, then obviously, whether the body is there or not, moksha is definitely there. From other standpoint, it is not visible because they are still looking at that person as only with the body, number one. Secondly, his action, etc., triggered by the past actions, make it appear that he is still not free, even though he is. And how can you want to get into the head of anybody to know whether he is free or not? As much as even the emotions of another person cannot be known by just looking at the person. I don't know your thoughts, right? Thank God. So, as much as you don't know my thoughts. So, how can anybody know how the person is free? By just because he is looking at the action of the person. So, from their standpoint, from the Advaita standpoint, Dehe vasannapi muktaha saha. Whereas they say Dehadurdvameva muktihi. So, Jivan Mukti is exclusive to Advaita Vedanta.
So in that case, Swamiji, like we have like Gurudev, Swami Vivekananda, Adi Shankaracharya, they are all dynamic, Jivan Muktas. Like, and as you mentioned that there are Jivan Mukta who are pretty silent, like Tapovan Maharaj was silent, in the Himalayas, and there are many Jivan Muktas are like that. So how do we, have that perspective, like
What they do, what they don't do. That's what it is centered towards saying, don't compare them. You will never be able to see that nana, because that's where karma nana atvat. Their past karma is different, and their prarabdha therefore different, and according to prarabdha they act. So you cannot compare. Even in your own home, if there are two children, they will not be able to compare. Even though my own products, why are they two different? Different because they are coming with their karmas. The origin is the same, but their expressions and life and everything is so different.
so like Swami, like in the Kumbh Mela, we have seen sadhus some of them might have that, Jivan Muktas, from a Vedic standpoint. There are some, as you mentioned, Vaita, so they have that concept, so, but they still consider it as Jivan Mukta from Advaita perspective. I'm just trying to say.
Now, it depends upon what school of thought they proceeded in, what is their level of understanding. We can never judge it from just looking at them. So, maybe some are still following the path of Dvaitam and then they are waiting for Prarabdha to get over. And still they have, living with certain limitations, etc. See, the Vairagya and Uparati will become complete in both ways. When one who has surrendered to Bhagavan also it will be happening. Or one has understood their false nature of things, then also through knowledge also it can happen. Jnana yajnena chapyanye vajate mam ananyabhag. So not jnana yajnena chapyanye, then ekatvena pratatvena bahuta vishvatomukam. There Bhagavan Krishna brings in the possibilities of various other ways of looking at it in chapter 9 of Gita. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dikkapat bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha.
Hari Om.